Hi students, welcome to my channel. Myself is Vedamurthy. Today we'll going to continue the chapter 4 of class 11 and PUC first year. Students, today in this video we'll going to be cover formal charge and limitations of the octet rule and other drawbacks of octet theory, ionic or electrovalent bond, and lattice enthalpy. These are the few topics we're going to be cover. So now let us begin the video. In the previous class we studied about the Lewis dot structures. So Lewis dot structure generally do not represent the actual shapes of the molecule. See, for example, in polyatomic ions, the net charge is possessed by the ion is a whole and not by a particular atom. However, it is feasible to assign a formal charge on each atom. The formal charge of an atom in a polyatomic molecule or ion may be defined as the difference between the number of valence electrons of that atom in an isolated or free state and the number of the electrons assigned to that atom in the Lewis structure. So even you can express the formal charge. The formal charge we can express in this way. The formal charge Fc, formal charge we can denote it as Fc of an atom in a Lewis structure, which is equal to the total number of valence electrons in free atom minus total number of non-bonding lone pair electrons into minus 1 by 2 into total number of bonding shared electrons. This is about the formal charge of particular atom in a Lewis structure. To counting is based on the assumption that the atom in the molecule owns its own one electron of each shared pair and both the electrons of a lone pair. So let us consider ozone 3. Ozone 3. In ozone 3, the Lewis structure, maybe we can draw it like this. So here O double dot is the first first molecule of oxygen and double bond. So O is the second one. It is having two lone pairs of electrons. Two dot dots, O dot double dot. So again from the one more O will give three dots. So three lone pair of electrons. That is ozone 3. See, for example, in this the atoms have been numbered as 1, 2 and 3. Here the formal charge you can calculate based on this ozone 3. Here the central atom is marked as 1. Central or atom is marked as, this is central atom, this is 1, is the marked as 1. Okay, so when the central atom is marked as 1, as per this formula, so formal charge on atom in Lewis structure is equal to total number of valence electrons in the free atom. Total number of valence electron is 6. Okay, total number of valence electrons are 6 in oxygen atom. So here what will happen, then the total number of non-bonding lone pair electrons, how many are the total number of non-bonding electrons? Here oxygen having, this is one having only two are there. So this is a non-bonding lone pair electrons. Okay, so now 6 minus 2 as per the formula, total number of valence electrons in the free atom minus total number of non-bonding lone pair electrons. Got it? So now we have to divide, we have to minus of 1 by 2 into again the total number of bonding shared electrons. Total number of bonding shared electrons are 6. So now we'll get the answer for this, we'll get plus 1. Okay, we'll get plus 1. See, see like this, 6 minus 2 minus 1 by 2 into 6 is equal to plus 1. So when the central oxygen atom marked as 1. If the same thing, the central the end oxygen atom is marked as 2. Here what will happen, the same formula we have to apply. Here the total number of valence electrons in the oxygen is, free atom is 6. Okay, so now how many are the lone pair of electrons on non-bonding electrons? Here 4 are there, so you have to minus 4, then minus of into half divided by 1 by 2 into 6, sorry 4, here 4, 6 minus 4 minus 1 by 2 into 4. Here we'll get only 0. 0 is the formal charge of an atom in Lewis structure. Now we'll go for third atom. See here the another end is, this is 1. See here another end is 0, here 6. Here formal total number of valence electrons in the free atom is 6. So now how many lone pairs of electrons which are not bonding? There are those also 6. Then minus of 1 by 2 into 2. These are total number of bonding shared electrons. Total number of bonding shared electrons are only 2. So we'll get minus 1. Hence we can, this ozone O3 represent along with the formal charge, so as follows. So one is positive and one is negative. So what will happen, this is becomes positive, this will becomes negative. That's all. So from this we should understand that formal charges do not indicating a real charge separation within the molecule. So it indicating the charges on the atom in the Lewis structure only, which helps in keeping in track of the valence electrons in the molecule. So the formal charges help in the respect of the selection of the lowest energy structure from a number of possible Lewis structures for a given species. Okay. Here generally the lowest energy structure is the one which is the smallest formal charge on the atoms. The formal charge is a factor based on a pure covalent bond in the view of bonding in which the electron pairs are shared equally by neighboring atoms. Now this is octet rule having some certain limitations and their own drawbacks. So let us discuss about the limitations. In the octet rule, though the octet rule is useful, but is not universal. It's not applicable to all the atoms. It's quite useful for understanding the structure of most of the organic compounds. So, and it applies mainly to the second period of the elements of the periodic table. So there are 3 types of exceptions to the octet rule. Okay, so let us discuss one by one. First of all, the incomplete octet of the central atom. So when the octet atom is central octet atom is incomplete. In some of the compounds, the number of electrons surrounding the central atom is the less than 8. Okay, so this is especially the case with the electrons which is having less than 4 valence electrons. For example, lithium chloride, barium hydride, barium chloride, and so on. See here we can define this is how this is. See, Li lithium 2 dots, hydrogen and beryllium is having H dot double dot B dot H, and same way for boron chloride. Sorry, not I told barium chloride. This is actually boron chloride. See, boron chloride having there are three chlorine molecules, Cl dot B dot Cl dot Cl. See, in these electrons here is only 4 less than 4 of the valence electrons. Here this octet rule will not giving the complete results. So why? Because lithium having only 1 valence electron and beryllium having 2 valence electrons and chlorine having 3 valence electrons. So some other such compounds are also are there. Say for example, aluminum trichloride, boron trifluoride. Okay, so those are the incomplete octet of the central atom. Second one, odd electron molecules. In odd electron molecules with an odd number of the electron, like nitric oxide, say NO, and the nitrogen dioxide NO2, the octet rule is not satisfied for all the atoms. How? We'll see this is. See for example, nitrogen oxide or nitric oxide. Nitrogen will write the Lewis dot structure, N double dot double bond O double dot. This is nitric oxide, and so nitrogen dioxide. We can write it as O double dot. Here double bond is coming. Here nitrogen will comes, nitrogen plus, so 1 dot, then oxygen, another oxygen is double dot, so minus sign. So then the third one is the expanded octet. What is third limitation? Is expanded octet. See, the elements in the are in and beyond the third period of the periodic table, apart from 3s and 3p orbital, 3d orbital also available for bonding. In a number of compounds of these elements, there are more than 8 valence electrons around the central atom. This is termed as the expanded octet. Obviously, the octet rule does not apply in such cases. Some of the examples we can look means, so some such compounds like, for example, PF3, SVX, SFX, H2SO4, and a number of coordination compounds. See for example, first PF3. In PF3 the Lewis structure is PF5 Lewis structure is P. Okay, here F. So there are 5 F fluoride molecules, each having 6 valence electrons. Double dot, like this you have to put. This is double dot. See here, what will happen? There are 10 electrons around the phosphorus atom. Around the phosphorus atom, how many are there? 10 electrons are there. Okay. Same way, one more example. SF6. In SF6, you can write it the Lewis structure. It's like very simple. F here, F, 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 F. So there is, now we have to put the dot, Lewis dot structure, double dot. Okay, so double dot, 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 dot 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 dot. Here in SF6 there are 12 electrons around the sulfur atom. And one more example, sulfuric acid you can take. In the sulfuric acid, H2SO4. In the sulfuric acid, how the Lewis structure? In sulfuric acid, there are totally 12 electrons around the sulfur atom. How many are there? There are 12 electrons around the sulfur atoms. So that we can write as a Lewis structure like this. H dash O dash S double bond O. Okay, dash O dash H. Okay, so here double bond O. We can write it the dots. How many dots? Oxygen having 2 2. Okay, oxygen, this is 2 2. Here also 2 2. And yes, there are 12 electrons around the sulfur atom. Okay. Interestingly, by knowing this, the sulfur also forms many compounds which the octet rule is obeyed. Some of the atoms octet rule is obeying in the compounds, some of the compounds, but in some of the compounds it won't. For example, in sulfur dichloride, the S atom, sulfur atom, has an octet of electron around it. Where in sulfur dichloride. Sorry. Yes, sulfur dichloride. This is obeying the octet rule law. Okay. Still write the Lewis structure of the octet rule. We can write it like this. Cl S dash Cl. Here chlorine having 6 valence outer shell electrons and sulfur having 4 valence outer shell electrons. Or you can also write it as, you can write it like this also, Cl dot 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 S dot 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 Cl. This is obeys the octet rule. And another drawback of the octet theory is it's very clear that the octet rule is based upon the chemical inertness of the noble gases. However, some of the noble gases, for example xenon or krypton, also combine with the oxygen and fluorine to form a number of compounds like HCF2, KrF2, HCOF2. Okay, so this octet theory does not account the shape of the molecule, and octet theory does not explain the relative stability of the molecules, which is being totally silent about the energy of the molecule. This is about the limitations and drawbacks of the octet theory. Now, so we'll going to discuss about ionic or electrovalent bond. Okay. See, in ionic electrovalent bond, from the Kozal and the Lewis treatment of the formation of an ionic bond, it follows that the formation of the ionic compounds would primarily depend upon the either the ease of the formation of the positive or negative charge, negative ions from the respective neutral atoms, or the arrangement of the positive and the negative ions in the solid that is the lattice of the crystalline compound. See, the formation of positive ion which involves the ionization, that means a removal of electron or electrons from the neutral atom, and that of the negative ion which involves the addition of the electrons or electron to the neutral atom. See here will this is sorry yeah, so M is a gas. For example, say for example M is not any atom, same Cm plus, so one electron is added, so plus electron minus, this is ionization enthalpy. Same way, for example X plus E minus, so here one electron is removed, that is electron gain enthalpy. So electron is removed, electron added, so that is so total of this ionization enthalpy plus electron gain enthalpy finally give the product is Mx, the solid. Say lattice crystalline compound. This is a lattice crystalline compound by adding ionization and electron gain enthalpies. The electron gain enthalpy, so delta Eg, you can denote as electron gain enthalpy delta Eg. Delta Eg is the enthalpy change when a gas phase atom in its ground state gains an electron. The electron gain process may be the exothermic or endothermic. The ionization, on the other hand, is always endothermic. The electron affinity is the negative of the energy which change accompanying with the electron gain. Obviously, ionic bonds will be formed more easily between the elements with the comparatively low ionization enthalpies and the elements with the comparatively high negative value of the electron gain enthalpy. So, and most of the ionic compounds have cations which are derived from the metallic elements, and anions those are derived from the non-metallic elements. See for example the ammonium ion, this is one exceptional case which is made of the two non-metallic elements NH4 plus sorry yeah NH4 plus, and it forms the cation of a number of ionic compounds. Ionic compounds in the crystalline state, which consists of orderly three-dimensional arrangements of cations and anions, which are held together by Coulombic interaction energies. So these compounds crystallize in different crystal structures determined by the size of the ions. So these packing arrangements and other factors, the crystal structure of sodium chloride, rock salt, NaCl. So you can show like this, rock salt. You can show like this. See, this is the rock salt structure. Rock salt structure. This is one the rock salt structure. Okay. In ionic solids, the sum of the electron gain enthalpy and the ionization enthalpy may be positive, but still the structure gets stabilized due to the energy released in the formation of the crystal lattice. For example, the ionization enthalpy for sodium plus is for Na plus is a gas. The formation from the Na plus is the formation from the Na plus is a gas in the form of gas. So here in sodium having 495.8 kilojoule per mole. While the electron gain enthalpy for the chloride, is chloride also gas, so which is having the removal of electron, so then we'll get Cl minus. It's also one of the gas, but its value is minus 348.7 minus 348.7 kilojoule per mole. So the sum of the two is we'll get 147.1 kilojoule per mole. So is more than the compensated by the enthalpy of the lattice formation of sodium chloride, so which is having minus 788 kilojoule per mole. Okay, so therefore the energy released in the process is more than the energy absorbed, and thus a qualitative measure of the stability of an ionic compound is provided by its enthalpy of lattice formation, and not simply by achieving the octet of electrons around the ionic species in gaseous state. Since lattice enthalpy plays a key role in the formation of ionic compounds, so now it's very important to know about the lattice enthalpy. So what is that lattice enthalpy? Okay, so now, say for example, lattice enthalpy which of an ionic compound or ionic solid is defined as the energy required to completely separate one mole of a solid ionic compound into gaseous constituent ions. So for example, the lattice enthalpy of sodium chloride is 788 kilojoule per mole. The lattice enthalpy of sodium chloride is 788 kilojoule per mole. So this means that the 788 kilojoule of energy is required to separate 1 mole of the solid in sodium chloride. So 1 mole of the sodium chloride you have to separate from that, means so you have to utilize the energy 788 kilojoule. So and 1 mole of Na plus is a gas in the gas state, and 1 mole of sodium, 1 mole of chlorine is also in a gas state, to an infinite distance. So this process involves both attractive forces between the ions of opposite charge and repulsive forces between the ions of the like charges. And the solid crystal being the three-dimensional, so it is all is not possible to calculate the lattice enthalpy directly from the interaction of forces of attraction and repulsion only. So factors associated with the crystal geometry have to be included. This is the today's video, which covers the formal charge and the drawbacks of the octet rule, limitations of the octet rule, and we also lattice enthalpy. These are the few topics we covered in this video. So, and thanks for watching this video.